YouTube, welcome back, and today I'm going to show you the basics of how to set up your first drift car on Forza Horizon 4. So, you've just bought Forza Horizon 4 and you want to learn how to drift and how to set up your car perfectly to get them six slides going straight away. So, in this we're going to get a basic car, cruise it around an A-class, and we're going to show the settings and the tuning setup and how to make it perfect. Now, you can apply these to all cars that you want to use, rear-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, anything you want to use. However, if you want to tweak anything to your preference, go ahead. These are just my settings of what I like to use and how I like to set my drift cars. So, to begin with, you want to choose your car. Me personally, I'm a rear-wheel drive drifter, so I'm going to choose this Datsun 510. Small, short wheelbase, perfect for drifting, rear-wheel drive. Let's get into the modification. So, here she is, and isn't she a beauty? We're going to work on this. It's going to look a lot different once we're done with it. Let's get into it. The first things first, you want to go into upgrades and tuning. And now from in here, there's two ways we can do this. We can do a custom upgrade, or we can find a new tune. So we're going to go into custom upgrade. So we always start with the engine conversion, and the reason we do this is so we can do all the extra modifications later without having to change the engine and do it all again. So with this particular model, there's a few options of the 3.2 litre inline 6, a 2 litre inline 4 variable valve timing engine, a 2.6 litre inline 6 twin turbo, and last but not least, a 1.6 litre inline 4 turbo rally. Now I'm going to presume the 3.2 litre inline 6 may be a 2JZ or something from a BMW. So let's go with this one for the laugh, eh? Drivetrain swap is whatever you want to choose it. Four-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. I'm keeping this rear-wheel drive so I don't need to touch this section. Now aspiration is where you get more power and make choo-choo sounds with the turbo or even a supercharger. And with this, of course, we're going single dingle turbo with this one. And the best part of Forza Horizon 4, the body kit options, where you can turn this boring old thing into something a bit cooler like this. We're not quite done yet though. So all the way left to engine. With me personally, I like to fully upgrade my cars. I'm a quick drifter, I'm not a slow drifter, but again, you can alter these to your preferences. So everything from here, from intake all the way through to oil and cooling and flywheel, is going to be maxed out. Now, with the engine part done, we're going to move on to platform and handling, which is the brakes and the sway bars, and also the suspension. Again, with this one, we're going to max out everything. We're going to put the drift suspension on this as well to obviously aid with the drifting, and we're also going to fully max out the sway bars as well. Now, with platform and handling, you do have an option to put a roll cage in it and some chassis reinforcements. I personally leave this well alone as it adds weight, and it's something I don't like to add to the car. Weight reduction, full weight reduction. Let's get rid of all the excess weight that we don't need. From there, we're going to move on to drivetrain. Same again, everything is going to be maxed out. Then, onto the tyres and the rims, or the wheels and tyres, whatever you want to call them. Now, tyres are a very important part of this. Now, within different communities on the drifting side of Forza Horizon 4, some people use different tyre options, which seems to be the most common ones I've used: stock, street, or sport tyres. Me personally, I used to use the Horizon race tyres and also the race compound, which are the same, except just a bit of writing. But there are people out there that use the drag tyre compound. Again, this is completely up to your preference. However, we are keeping this within A class, so sport tyres are probably your best option. Same again, this is all down to preference of how you modify this part, because it's all down to how you want the car to look, how aggressive you want it to look. The tyre width doesn't necessarily matter, the tyre size also doesn't necessarily matter. All depends on how you want the car to look. Me personally, the widest tyres, slightly bigger profile and better looking wheels, all perfect for me. So my choice of wheel for this is the Rotiform New. This looks amazing on the car. Not always a wheel I like to use, however for this particular vehicle, it looks good. See, a nice set of wheels can make the car look totally different.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Now, aero and performance can have its benefits if you want to tune that. However, me personally, it's just how I want the car to look. So I've de-chromed the bumpers, and now we're going to put a livery on it just to make it look a little bit better. Again, liveries don't add to performance because it's a livery. However, aesthetically, let's see how we can make it look. And there we have it, a fully customized, not yet tuned Datsun 510. I've chosen a little rusty livery on this because it's old, it's bad, it's a drift car, and it just makes it look a little bit better and a little bit better than what it did before. So let's get into the tuning. So to begin with, tyre pressures, I like to put a bit of extra pressure in the rears. Around 40 to 45 is usually fine. Gearing, again, this is all down to preference. I usually leave this alone. Again, if you want to make it a little bit more snappier, you can put the acceleration up. If you don't, you can put it up to speed. Now, alignment, I usually add a little bit of extra negative camber to the rear. With the toe, I use the front. On the front, I make it to out a little bit more, maybe 1 degree, 2 degrees, nothing too major. Toe in on the rear, again, 1 or 2 degrees. And then the caster angle, you usually leave alone because that's the best setting for it. So when it comes to anti-roll bars, springs and dampening, you want to soften it up and have it as low as possible. With the drift suspension, it's usually at its lowest. So this is how I have the softness on my anti-roll bars. This is what I have it as for the springs. Settings for the dampening. Now aero we leave alone because there's nothing to adjust anyway. You don't need to bother with this. Braking, again, that's completely up to you. Usually add a little bit to the front and then put a little bit of pressure just for a little bit better. And now we fully lock the diff by putting the high setting on here and then the high setting on deacceleration. So we hit apply, we add it. Let's get into some drifting. So here on the map is a little car park I like to use and test for drift cars. And it looks a little something like this. It's a figure of 8 car park where you could do rings around here, trains with all your friends, do some figure 8 drifting, nice little drift spot for you to test your car and see if it drifts to your preference. So let's see how she goes. Shift up into second and already we're kicking the tail out. We're drifting around here nicely. We're going round and round again. Shift up a gear. And here we go. A beautiful little drift car. All set, ready to go. Look it down here. Handbrake in. Beautiful. Change up to fourth and again, still drifts, still slides. And I'd say a great success for a Datsun 510. So if you're too lazy to build the car yourself, we have saved the tune on Forza Horizon 4, as you can see above. If there's anything you want me to change or if there's anything that could be done a little bit better, let me know in the comments and let me know what you think. And that wraps up the basic drift settings for Forza Horizon 4 using a Datsun 510. If you're enjoying this type of content and want to see more how-tos on how to drift different cars, all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new here. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next how-to.